Chapter 1955. Little Bean said, "Daddy, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just pretending to be cold. Let's ignore her. Let's go. I just found a really good tiramisu. I'll take you to try it." Just like that, Chin-Chu followed Little Bean downstairs to the pantry to eat cake. Little Bean finally found a good excuse for her gluttony. In the small theater upstairs, only Qin-Ning and Pudding were left sitting side by side. "Pudding, you're not likable. If you don't cry, you won't get any candy. Actually, you should learn from Little Bean. It's good that you can act like a spoiled child." "Actually," Qin-Ning said slowly, "Auntie, we're all born as individuals. We don't depend on each other and naturally, we don't imitate each other. Little Bean is kind by nature and likes to be in a daze and act cute. This is her personality advantage. I can't learn it and I don't want to learn it. I'm naturally calm and collected. I think this is good. But aren't you afraid that your mommy and daddy will love Little Bean more? After all, she knows how to coax people." Qin-Ning deliberately teased her. "No," Pudding answered very decisively. "Why?" "It's because we're both daddy and mommy's daughters. They love us equally. Mommy carried us for 10 months and gave birth to us. We're also related to daddy by blood. This is a bond that can never be severed. Even if I'm calm, cold, and arrogant, daddy and mommy still love me equally. I believe that's the case." When Pudding said this, she was full of confidence. She was no longer a little girl. She had transformed into a domineering big sister in minutes. Qin-Ning admired her little niece to death. "Pudding, you're really not like a 3-year-old child. I even thought that you were reborn or had traveled back in time from ancient times. You're like a demon." Although Qin-Ning knew that Pudding was smart and mature, she felt that even an ordinary adult wouldn't be able to understand what she said, let alone a 3-year-old child. Hearing Qin-Ning's words, Pudding turned her head and glanced at her auntie's face. "Auntie, have you watched too many novels and dramas?" "Qin-Ning, that's not good. It will lower your IQ. Be good." Then, Pudding patted Qin-Ning's shoulder and said in a serious tone before she turned and went downstairs. Qin-Ning was left dumbfounded. That night, Qin-Chu's second uncle ordered the kitchen to prepare a very sumptuous Chinese meal. The whole family gathered together to eat dinner. "When are you going back?" Qin-Ning's father asked, looking at Qin-Chu and Huamin. "I'll go back to my parents' place tomorrow morning and stay there for 1 more day. After that, I'll go back to China." "So soon, big brother, stay a little longer," Qin-Ning said reluctantly. "Yes, it's rare for your whole family to come back. My brother and sister-in-law love children so much. They must be reluctant to part with you." "Second uncle, Mion and I still have a lot of things to take care of, so we can't stay here for too long. There will be plenty of opportunities. We'll come here twice a year, don't worry." "Actually, I think you should consider leaving the children here to go to school," Qin-Chu's second uncle suggested. "School?" Qin-Chu was slightly surprised. "Yes, the education here is the best in the world. The twins can go to kindergarten and elementary school here and then go to a prestigious university, such as Oxford or Stanford. Wouldn't that be great? Otherwise, they'll have to go abroad in the future." "Second uncle, but they're still too young. They're only 3 years old." Qin-Chu looked down at his daughters, who were eating. Chapter 1956. "Yeah, they're too young. We can't bear to let them go." Huamin smiled. "Dad, you're too much. They're only 3 years old and you want my brother and sister-in-law to keep them. Who would be willing to do that?" Qin-Ning thought her father's suggestion was ridiculous. "So what? They're very independent. You don't have to worry about them at all. They can even go out on their own." Qin-Chu's uncle accidentally let it slip. Huamin immediately understood what was going on. He frowned slightly. "Go out on their own?" The twins' expressions changed and they immediately turned to Qin-Ning for help. Qin-Ning didn't want her nieces to leave, so she quickly tried to smooth things over. "Oh, it's like this. This morning they wanted to go out and play. I had something to talk to them about, so I only asked the bodyguards to follow them. I only went to pick them up after I finished talking." "You only asked the bodyguards to look after my daughters?" "Qin-Ning, what were you thinking?" Qin-Chu was unhappy. Qin Chu's uncle immediately realized his slip of the tongue and didn't dare to say anything else. I had no choice. It was a work emergency, so it's fine with the bodyguards following them. Honey, don't be too nervous. Huamin smiled and comforted Qin Chu. Little girl, you liar. I'll teach you a lesson later. Qin Chu pointed at Qin Ning with his chopsticks. Qin Ning stuck out her tongue and didn't say anything else. The twins secretly gave Qin Ning a thumbs up, meaning, Auntie, you did a great job. After dinner, Qin Chu and Huamian sat in the living room with Qin Chu to watch financial advice and discuss the global economy. Qin Ning took the twins upstairs to take a shower. As soon as they entered the bathroom, Qin Ning squatted down to fill the tub with water for the twins. The two little guys stumbled over and stood on either side of Qin Ning. Then, each of them kissed Qin Ning's face. What are you doing? Kissing up to me? Qin Ning smiled at the twins. Little Bean, Auntie, you're so nice. Thank goodness you helped us out. Pudding, I'm sorry that you got scolded by Daddy. Oh, it's okay. I love you guys so much that it's okay to be scolded. It's not like it's the first time I've been scolded by your daddy. What's one more time? Qin Ning pinched their cheeks. Anyways, if we let it slip, I'm sure we'll be in big trouble. I noticed that Mommy's face changed when she heard that we went out alone. I was so scared. Little Bean was still in shock as she recalled the scene from before. Huh, so you know fear too. Qin Ning laughed heartily. Of course, my mommy is actually very scary. When she's angry, my daddy is scared out of his wits, Pudding added. That's true. It's scary when someone who doesn't seem to have a temper normally gets angry. Sister-in-law always looks like she's smiling and calm, but when she gets angry, it's scary when the sky falls and the earth shatters. That's right. Pudding gave her a thumbs up and praised her auntie's wit again. Alright, cut the crap. Hurry up and come in to take a shower. After the bathwater was ready, Qin Ning helped them take off their clothes and carefully carried them into the bathroom. Thank you for taking care of us these past few days, Auntie. When I go back, I'll definitely buy some local specialties and send them to you. Little Bean would definitely use food to express her gratitude. Okay. I'll wait for your specialties. Just don't get me a basket of potatoes. Qin Ning laughed. I won't. After all, international delivery is so expensive. Little Bean pouted. Auntie, I still hope that you can find a chance to come back to China and stay for a while. Pudding was still thinking about her auntie and Su Yu and kept asking her to come back. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Hurry up and take a shower. Oh, you guys are leaving tomorrow and my vacation is over. I'm so sad. I don't want to go to work anymore, Qin Ning complained. Downstairs, Huamin was chatting when he suddenly changed the topic and asked, Uncle, why did the kids go out alone this morning? Qin Ning's uncle's expression changed slightly when he heard this. He looked very unnatural. Chapter 1957. Oh, nothing. Qin Chu tried to cover it up. Uncle, you can't hide it from us. Just tell us the truth so we don't think too much. Qin Chu looked at Qin Chu and said slowly. It turned out that Huamian became suspicious when her second uncle let it slip at the dinner table. Although Qin Ning tried to smooth things over, Huamin obviously didn't believe her. After spending a few days with Qin Ning, Huamin had a general understanding of her. She was willing to take time off to eat and play with the twins every day. How could she let the kids go out with her bodyguards because of work? There was definitely something fishy going on. Qin Chu and Huamin weren't ordinary people. They were very observant. Seeing that they had all spoken openly, second uncle could only tell the truth. After he told them the whole story, Qin Chu and Huamian's expressions turned serious. I didn't think they'd do something like this, Qin Chu said in a low voice. Huamin bit his lip and didn't say anything. Honey, are you okay? Qin Chu could tell that Huamian wasn't in a good mood, so he put his arm around her shoulders. I'm fine. It's getting late. Let's go back to our room. Then, Huamin and Qin Chu got up. Huamin didn't go back to their room. Instead, he went straight to the bathroom. The two babies were taking a bubble bath inside. Mommy, you're so rude. Why didn't you knock? Little Bean pouted. Are they done? Huamin asked patiently. Almost. What's wrong? Qin Ning turned around. Nothing. Your brother and I miss the kids. After they're done, let them go to our room. Okay, no problem. I'll take them there in a bit. Qin Ning smiled. Huamin glanced at his daughters, closed the bathroom door, and left. Sis, why aren't you saying anything? What are you daydreaming about? Little Bean patted Pudding's shoulder with her chubby little hand. Why do I feel like there's something wrong with Mommy? Pudding was worried. Gosh, you sure like to overthink things. No wonder Mommy always says you worry too much. Can you be more confident? You're not like our Scorpio at all. You're not cool at all. Little Bean complained. Yeah, you're both Scorpio? No wonder you're so black-bellied. Qin Ning suddenly thought of their constellations. By the way, Auntie, what's your horoscope? Little Bean asked. I'm an Aries girl, Qin Ning replied. Haha, you're a big white sheep. No wonder. Little Bean burst into laughter. No wonder what? Qin Ning was confused. She didn't know what was so funny about her niece. Sis, can you tell her what's special about Aries? Little Bean poked Pudding. Pudding finally came back to her senses. She glanced at her auntie and said, I heard that Aries girls have bad tempers and are easily impulsive. You're right. I have a bad temper. I even argued with your second grandpa during the board meeting because of work. I have to tell the difference between right and wrong. Even my own father can't help me. Qin Ning nodded. Aries people are actually very kind. Being impatient is just a characteristic of their personality. They explode when lit, Pudding explained. Mine? Explode when lit? Qin Ning was speechless. At this moment, Little Bean couldn't help but interrupt. Sis, you didn't get to the point. You didn't even say what Aries people like. Pudding, I think it's better not to. She won't be able to take it. Then, what's Aries people like? Hearing Pudding's words, Qin Ning looked at Little Bean curiously. Chapter 1958. Haha during the day, and we'll do it at night. Qin Ning, Qin Moo Moo, what nonsense are you talking about? Qin Ning was so angry that her face turned red. To be honest, little auntie, don't you know that Aries is very in love with inside? What? Qin Ning was about to break down. Forget it, you don't even have a boyfriend, so you probably won't understand even if I tell you. Little Bean lowered her head and continued to rub her chubby cheeks. Qin Ning, okay Little Bean, don't bully auntie, she's still young, Pudding turned her head and said. Okay, let's go wash up. We have to greet the Emperor and Empress later. I wonder if they're having fun in New Orleans, Little Bean and Pudding said calmly. Qin Ning felt like she was going crazy because of her nieces. Just one constellation could cause such a big earthquake. Oh my God, if she continued to live with them, she would become a puppy. She would be turned into a fujoshi. She would be as dirty as she wanted to be. Auntie, read more magazines when you're free. Otherwise, when you have a boyfriend, he'll think you're boring. Good luck. Before she left, Little Bean reminded Qin Ning with a heavy tone. Qin Ning felt like she was struck by lightning. She wasn't prepared for it at all. Little Bean, I'm going to tell your mommy that you're so dirty. Qin Ning roared behind her. Calm down, my mommy's used to it. You're the only one who's making a fuss. Little Bean whistled and followed closely behind her sister to her parents' room. Sis, what's on your mind? Pudding walked slowly with her head down. Little Bean was curious. I still feel like Mommy's not in the right mood. I feel like something's going to happen. She's very nervous, Pudding replied nervously. You're thinking too much. Move, I'll walk in front. If anything happens, I'll cover you and you can run. With that, Little Bean quickly ran in front of her sister. The two of them walked to the door and politely knocked on it. Come in. Huamin's crisp voice came from inside. Mommy, we're here. Little Bean smiled coquettishly as soon as she walked in. Pudding followed her sister cautiously. Qin Chu and Huamin were sitting on the sofa in the bedroom, wearing bathrobes. It was obvious that they had also taken a shower. However, Pudding was even more worried when she saw her parents sitting in a row. You two come here. Huamin beckoned with his finger, his face expressionless. The twins didn't understand what he meant, so they slowly walked over. Pudding cleverly glanced at her daddy's face and found that his eyes were a little serious. "Mommy, why are you looking for us?" Pudding asked tentatively. "Both of you, stretch out your hands first." Huamin said faintly. "Mommy, do you have a gift for us?" "But I knew you and Daddy wouldn't forget about us when you go to New Orleans. Did Uncle Rick buy them for us? Are they food or toys?" Little Bean looked very excited. Pudding, on the other hand, was worried. However, the two children still obediently followed Huamin's instructions. Just as they stretched out their chubby little hands, Huamin pulled out a ruler from behind him. Put, put, put. The ruler hit their palms twice. Instantly, the twins were stunned. "Mommy, why did you hit us?" Little Bean was dumbfounded and felt wronged. Although Chin Chu felt bad, he decided not to interfere with his wife's education of the children. "Mommy, you need a reason to hit us." Pudding looked up and stared at Huamin, calmly saying, "You want a reason, right? Very well, then let me ask you, whose idea was it to go out alone?" Huamin asked sternly. Chapter 1959. Hearing Huamin's words, the twins immediately calmed down. They knew that they had been exposed and that they had underestimated their mommy's intelligence. Huamin didn't fully believe Qi Ning's words. In the end, he learned the whole story from his uncle. The result was that Huamin was furious and the consequences were severe. "Don't look at each other. Look at me." Huamin saw the twins secretly looking at each other as if they were trying to communicate with each other. They were trying to figure out how to deal with their mommy. "So, who's going to answer my question? You went out alone without bodyguards, and you didn't let Grandpa and Auntie know about it. You even avoided all the surveillance cameras. You caused a huge commotion at home and scared everyone out of their wits. So, who was the one who came up with this idea?" Huamian could no longer suppress the anger in her heart, and her voice was tinged with irritation. Yes, ever since she had the babies, she wasn't as calm as before. Because the baby would inadvertently do something that would drive you crazy. "Honey, calm down. Lower your voice, don't scare them." Chin Chu couldn't bear to see them like this. Looking at the two little girls with their heads lowered and their lips aggrievedly, Mr. Chin began to surrender. "Honey, we agreed that you wouldn't interfere." Huamin tilted his head and glanced at Chin Chu. "Yes, I won't interfere. I'm just giving you a friendly reminder." "I don't need your reminder. If you can't stand it, you can go out and I'll talk to them," Huamin suggested. "Daddy, please don't go." Little Bean was so scared that she immediately begged Chin Chu. She knew too well that with her daddy by her side, she would be emboldened and her sister's situation would be much better. If her daddy went out and they were left alone with their mommy, that would be really scary. "I won't go." Chin Chu looked at his daughters with heartache. Pudding was struggling internally. She knew that if she admitted it, she would face her mommy's wrath. This time, it would be worse than the time when she smashed the phone, so the punishment would be crueler. No matter how calm and collected she was still a child, so she would still be afraid. "Why aren't you talking? Are you scared?" Huamin asked coldly. The twins still lowered their heads, not daring to make a sound. "You have 5 seconds to answer my question. Otherwise, I'll take it that it was your idea and both of you will be punished." Huamin said and started counting down. 3, 2, "Mommy, it was my idea." Hearing this, Chin Chu froze for a second, and so did Huamian. Because it was Little Bean who spoke. Pudding also looked at her sister in surprise. She didn't expect her sister to do this. "Little Bean, was this your idea?" Huamin repeated. Little Bean placed her hands behind her back nervously. She rubbed her hands vigorously. It was obvious that she was very nervous. But she still looked up and said confidently, "It was my idea, Mommy." "This isn't like you." Huamin looked at his daughter meaningfully. She knew their personalities too well. Little Bean didn't have any ideas. Most of the time, she followed her sister's footsteps. She would agree to go wherever Pudding wanted to go. Other than being strict about what to eat, Little Bean didn't interfere too much. Obviously, Huamin didn't believe her. Pudding was a bit anxious and said, "Mommy, Little Bean is wrong. This matter is actually. Chapter 1960. Sis, stop talking. Let's just tell mommy the truth. I know you want to take care of me because you're my sister, but I have to take responsibility for what I did. I'll just admit it to mommy. Little Bean looked at Pudding and said slowly. But Pudding seemed to have something else to say. No buts. This is the truth. Little Bean was determined and took the blame. Why did you do that? Don't you know it's dangerous to go out alone? Huamin asked. I thought we'd be fine in the States. After all, those bad guys are in China. Little Bean remembered what her sister said to her before. Once, do bad guys know where to go? Do you think they won't come here? Do you know how second grandpa and auntie would face us if something happened to you? They must be under a lot of pressure. You disappeared for 4 hours and made second grandpa call the LAPD. You two are too much. The twins lowered their heads and didn't say anything. I've always thought that you two are friendly children. Even if you're occasionally willful, it's still a child's nature. I can understand and accept it. But this time, I can't agree with and accept your actions. Because you two are selfish. You don't care about other people's feelings. You only think about your own happiness. It's only because your freedom is restricted in the country that you think it's fun and whimsical that you did such a ridiculous thing. Mommy, we're fine, aren't we? Pudding argued. Shut up. Don't tell me you're fine. You're just lucky. If something happened, what would happen to your daddy and me? What would happen to Grandpa and Grandma? What would happen to Uncle Sue? Huamin sounded agitated. Honey, don't be angry. Calm down. Chin Chu patted Huamin's back. He was heartbroken to see her so angry. However, on one side was his daughters and on the other side was his wife. Mommy, we know we're wrong. We're sorry. Little Bean was obedient and apologized immediately. Even if she didn't mean it, she would try to comfort her mother first. She didn't want to get beaten up. However, Pudding didn't accept it. She thought it was a good idea to buy Suyu a gift when they finally went out. Moreover, nothing happened to them. They were fluent in English, and the taxi ride was smooth. It was not as dangerous as Mommy had said. Of course, they were still young and didn't know that Huasiqian had always wanted to harm them. They also didn't know that a terrifying demon like Ian was eyeing their entire family. She only felt that her mommy was too nervous. Is it useful to know that you're wrong? If you cause trouble in the future, such as killing someone, do you think you will be forgiven just by apologizing? Don't you need to take responsibility? Huamin reprimanded with a black face. Honey, it's not that serious. Don't scare them. Chin Chu still couldn't bear it. It's that serious? If we don't teach them a lesson now, what will happen in the future? With that, Huamin raised the ferrule in his hand. Little Bean, Mommy will ask you one last time. This was your idea, wasn't it? Yes, it's me. Little Bean was determined to take the blame. All right, then you have to accept the punishment. With that, Huamin grabbed Little Bean's hands. She started hitting them. From the sound of it, it was obvious that she used a lot of force. She hit each hand 5 times, a total of 10 times. The sound of the ferrule cracking made Chin Chu's heart clench. However, he didn't dare to plead for his daughters. Chapter 1961. Chin Chu knew that if one of them hit and the other spoiled the child, it would be ineffective. Therefore, Chin Chu turned his head away and didn't dare to look. Instantly, Little Bean's hands turned red. Maybe it was because of the pain, but her face turned red. However, she didn't cry this time. She just gritted her teeth and endured it. After the slap, before Huamin could say anything, Pudding burst into tears. She was very sad because she knew that her sister took the blame for her and got hit. It must have hurt a lot. Sis, don't cry. It doesn't hurt. Really, it doesn't hurt. Mommy didn't hit me hard. Little Bean forced a smile and her eyes turned into crescents. At this moment, Chin Chu's eyes were wet. Huamian almost burst into tears as well. In fact, Chin Chu and Huamin both knew it was Pudding's idea. They just didn't expect Little Bean to admit it. Even though Huamian knew it wasn't Little Bean, she still hit Little Bean hard to make Pudding suffer. Sisters were connected by heart. Plus, they were twins. Pudding seemed to be able to feel Little Bean's pain. Mommy, it wasn't Little Bean's idea. Pudding cried and said. But Little Bean walked over and covered her mouth. Mommy, it's over. We know we were wrong. So, can we go now? You can go. Pudding stays. I said it wasn't Little Bean. Mommy, why didn't you keep your promise? Little Bean was a little agitated. I didn't. Are you going to hit Little Bean? No, I won't hit her. You took all the hits for her. Huamin looked at Little Bean. Honey, take Little Bean out first. I have something to say to Pudding. Okay. Chin Chu nodded and picked up Little Bean. Let's go. Daddy will put the ointment on you. Daddy, it doesn't hurt. Stay and help Big Sister. Little Bean was a little scared. Don't worry. If Mommy says I won't hit you, then I won't. Finally, Chin Chu walked out of the door with Little Bean in his arms. Pudding was still crying with her head down. Her tears had already wet her floral dress. Her two neat braids were also a little loose, and she looked very disheveled. Little Bean, does it hurt? As soon as Chin Chu carried Little Bean out of the door, he kissed her face lovingly. Tell me the truth? Little Bean looked at her daddy pitifully. Of course. Little Bean whispered into Chin Chu's ear, it hurts a lot. Mommy hit me really hard. Then why aren't you crying? Because I'm afraid that if I cry, you'll feel bad. Little Bean said sensibly. Hearing this, Chin Chu felt very uncomfortable. His daughter was only 3 years old. She only thought so much. Besides, Little Bean looked like a silly little girl who only knew how to flatter and act cute. No one would have thought that she would be so sensible and considerate of her sister. Little Bean, Daddy wants to ask you. This was your sister's idea. Why did you say it was you? Don't you know that you'll be beaten if you say it? Chin Chu was also very curious. He wanted to know what Little Bean was thinking. I know. I'm mentally prepared. Little Bean nodded. Then why did you admit it for your sister? 'Cause Mommy already punished her last time when she made a mistake. If I punish her again this time, I'm afraid she'll be sad, scared, and even traumatized. She'll think that Mommy doesn't love her. After Little Bean said this, Chin Chu's tears fell down. He really couldn't control it. What about you? Won't you be scared, sad, or traumatized? Chin Chu hugged his daughter tightly. I'm fine. My heart is bigger than my sister's. She's more introverted, so I'm a little worried. These are all superficial wounds. She'll be fine in a few days. Daddy, why are you crying? Don't cry. You won't be handsome if you cry. Little Bean wiped away Chin Chu's tears as she spoke. It was very heartwarming. Inside the room, Huamin looked at Little Bean with a heavy heart and said in a serious tone, Little Bean, don't you want to say something to Mommy? Chapter 1962. Mommy, it wasn't Pudding's idea. It was my idea, Pudding said between sobs. Really? Then why didn't you tell me when I asked you? Huamin stared at Pudding and asked, word for word. That's because... Pudding bit her lip as if she couldn't bring herself to say it. Because you're scared? You're scared that you'll be punished for taking the blame? Pudding nodded. Then you didn't think that Pudding would take the blame for you and receive the same punishment? I didn't think that Pudding would say that, so I was very surprised. By the time I wanted to explain, it was too late. In the end, it's because you're scared that you don't dare to admit it. But Pudding, why didn't you feel scared when you got into trouble? Mommy, to be honest, I don't think I got into trouble. I went out for a reason, not because I wanted to have fun. I went out to buy gifts for her. Before Pudding could finish, Huamin angrily interrupted her. Shut up. I don't want to hear your excuses. No matter what the reason is, you're in the wrong. Your selfish behavior brought a lot of trouble to your aunt and grandpa. Luckily, nothing happened, or else, it would have been too late. Pudding, I always thought that you were the mature and stable one between the two of you, just like your daddy. But this time, you disappointed me. Your arrogance is only because you're willful, your princess syndrome, and your little temper. You don't have your daddy's sense of responsibility and responsibility. Your daddy always thinks about his family and Mommy, but you always put yourself first. You even let Pudding take the blame for you. Pudding may seem like a little foodie and heartless, But when the time comes, she's more responsible than you are. She's mommy's daughter, not a coward like you. A troublemaker who makes trouble for her own sister. Mommy, I didn't want to do that. Pudding was very sad when she heard her mommy's harsh words, so she tried to explain herself. I know you understand everything, but you just won't listen to me. Are you trying to rebel now? No, Mommy, I just wanted to go out and buy gifts. I didn't think too much about it. I didn't know that second grandpa and little auntie were scared to death. If I knew they were in that state, I would never do that. Pudding, in this world, everyone has to be responsible for their mistakes. You can't let it go just because you said I was wrong and I apologized. It's not scary when people make mistakes, it's scary when they don't want to take responsibility. Actually, no matter how big the mistake is, as long as you're willing to admit it and atone for it, tomorrow will be a new day. I hope this time, you've really grown up and become more sensible. Seeing that Little Bean took a beating for you, I hope you can think things through. That's all, you can leave now. Mommy. Pudding seemed to want to say something to Huamin and kept crying. Get out. Huamin's tone was rather unfriendly. Pudding was crying as she walked out. Qin Ning knew that the twins were being interrogated and was so scared that she immediately came to save the situation. However, Pudding didn't say a word and kept walking back to her room with her head down. Qin Chu happened to run into Pudding, who was in a mess. Pudding, are you okay? Qin Ning was worried. Chapter 1963. It's okay, Auntie. Don't worry. Pudding held back her tears, opened the door, and slammed it shut. Pudding, open the door. I have something to talk to you about. Auntie, go to sleep. I'm tired. Pudding refused to open the door. Qin Ning had no choice but to go downstairs and watch as Qin Chu applied ointment on Pudding's hands. Oh my God, did your mommy hit you? Qin Ning exclaimed as she looked at Pudding's red and swollen hands. Pudding nodded with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry, Pudding. Your grandpa betrayed you by accident. I already taught him a lesson. Qin Ning was just complaining about her dad. How could he betray the two kids? Qin Chu's uncle looked helpless. Of course, he didn't want to, but his niece-in-law was too smart and couldn't be fooled. It's not Grandpa's fault. Mommy's so smart. These things can't be hidden from her. Pudding was very open-minded. Big brother, let me apply the ointment. Qin Ning squatted down. Qin Chu carefully applied the ointment on Pudding's hands. It's okay. I'll do it. When it came to taking care of his daughter, he didn't trust anyone but himself. Why don't you go check on Pudding? I think she's not in a good mood. She just went back to her room and cried. Pudding doesn't need to be comforted. She's introverted. She'll figure it out. Qin Chu wasn't worried about Pudding. Instead, he was worried about Pudding. The family stayed up until late. When Pudding was very sleepy, Qin Chu carried her upstairs. When he carried Pudding back, she was still awake. She sat alone in her room. Her eyes were red from crying. She looked like a little rabbit. Pudding, Qin Chu called. She turned her head. Your sister is asleep. She's hurt today. You have to take good care of her, okay? Qin Chu's voice was very gentle. Okay. Pudding nodded. Then you guys go to bed early. We're flying to Grandpa's house tomorrow. Good girl. Qin Chu hugged Pudding, kissed her cheek, and turned to leave. Daddy, Qin Chu turned his head, his voice very soft. I'm sorry about what happened today. It's okay. You're Daddy's daughter. No matter what you do, Daddy will forgive you. Also, your mommy loves you very much. That's why she loves you so much. Don't blame her. Mommy's right, she's right. I was too stubborn. I almost got into trouble again and even made little sister suffer for me. Daddy, even I look down on myself. Mommy's right, I inherited your arrogance and calmness, but I didn't inherit your sense of responsibility and responsibility. This time, I've embarrassed Daddy. No, Daddy doesn't think so. Qin Chu comforted Pudding. I won't be so disobedient in the future. After returning home, I'll perform well and strive not to disappoint Mommy and Daddy. Pudding thought for a whole night and reflected a lot. She seemed to have made up her mind to perform well. This time, The fact that Little Bean got beaten up because of her was a huge blow to her. It made her accept many things. Okay, Daddy looks forward to your best performance. Then, Chin-Chu walked out of the twins' room and returned to his own room. As soon as he entered the room, he saw Huamin sitting on the bay window, wearing one of his loose white shirts. Her smooth and white thighs were exposed. She was very sexy and different from her usual style. Most importantly, she had a cigarette in her mouth. Every time Huamin smoked, she was extremely depressed. Chin-Chu understood. "Honey, are you smoking again?" Chin-Chu walked over, pulled the cigarette out of her mouth, and pressed it into the ashtray. "I suddenly feel like I'm a failure." Huamin was a little depressed. "Why would you say that?" Chin-Chu sat behind her and let her whole body lean against his chest. Chapter 1964. I just realized how much of a failure I am. As a daughter, I'm not good enough. I've been causing trouble for the family since I was a kid and I've never had a peaceful life. Luckily, Mom never really blamed me. Sometimes Zhixin even worries about me. As a wife, I'm not gentle and virtuous either. I don't understand you, I can't think for you, and I always cause trouble for you. As a daughter-in-law, I don't take care of my in-laws. As a mother, I'm even more of a failure. The twins have been mature since they were little, but I've been too busy with work to guide them. I always thought my daughters were good enough, but today, I realized that I've raised Pudding to be an egomaniac. She's even a little selfish, and Little Bean to be a glutton. They don't even know how to protect themselves. Honey, you can't say that. As a daughter, you've done so much for the family. You've worked hard and earned money to bring a stable life to your mother and brother. As a wife, you've always done so much for the family. Even when you were pregnant and had a child, you did it all by yourself. You've always had me in your heart. As a daughter-in-law, you've done so much for Mom and Dad. When I was in prison, you ran between the family and the company to comfort them. You worked so hard to give birth to a pair of cute granddaughters for them. As a mother, you've set enough examples. You can't expect too much from them because they're only 3 years old. Even if they're mature and smart, they're still very, very young. We have to guide them step by step, and we need a lot of patience. We can't deny them because of one mistake. Honey, do you think I'm being too unreasonable? No, I understand your uneasiness. Honey, you've worked too hard. Leave everything to me when you come back to China. You don't have to go to work anymore. So, are you going to fire me? Huamin turned around and looked at Chin-Chu pitifully. No, I'm going to give you a vacation, spend a few days with the twins, and then what? Huamin leaned into Chin-Chu's arms and looked up at his almost perfect profile. And then you'll go back to work at Southside, right? Back to Southside? Huamin's jaw dropped in surprise. I've talked to President Wu, and Southside happens to be short-handed. If you go back, not only will you be reinstated as the chief physician of the Department of Neurology, but you'll also be the deputy director. Huamin, don't you think it's just right for me to be a CO and you to be a doctor? I miss the old days, honey. Although we were busy, our lives were very fulfilling. Honey, you're the big boss of GK headquarters. Don't you think it's beneath you to come back to China to work? Huamin whined. Protecting my wife and child is my greatest happiness. Money and power have nothing to do with me. Chin-Chu said it casually, but Huamin was very excited. Being a doctor was her greatest hobby. She never dared to think that she would be able to return to the hospital one day. What a wonderful experience that would be, but her husband had silently arranged everything for her. Honey, thank you for always silently arranging everything for me. At this moment, Huamin was filled with happiness. With a husband like this, what else could she ask for in her life? Because you're Huamin, everything I do for you is worth it. Just as Chin-Chu said before, because of the weight of the two words Huamin, he was willing to do anything for her. The next morning, the family of 4 was ready to fly to Hawaii. Before they left, the twins and Qin-Ning were reluctant to leave. Auntie, are you really not coming back to China with us? Pudding looked at Qin-Ning sadly. Chapter 1965. Thinchum, I'm not going back. Auntie still has a lot of work to do. Qin Ning smiled. Grandpa, are you bullying Auntie and giving her a lot of work? Little Bean looked at Grandpa Qin and said coquettishly, Hey, your auntie's status in the family is like an ancestor. She has the highest status in the family after you too. Do you think I dare to bully her? Qin Chu's uncle was speechless. Compared to work, the most important thing for a girl is to find a good man to marry. So, Auntie, you have to make marriage your top priority. Little Bean said seriously. Okay, you two sly little girls. My ears are going to grow calluses from your words. Hurry up and go. Don't talk too much. It's hard for a girl to find a boyfriend if she talks too much. Plus, you two are big scorpions, don't act like Virgos. Qin Ning smiled and squatted down to kiss her two nieces. After reluctantly saying goodbye to their auntie and grandpa, the two babies got into the car first. Uncle, you have to take care of yourself. Don't tire yourself out. You don't have to deal with the company yourself, just leave it to Ning Ning, Qin Chu said. I know. Your dad always tells me that at my age, it's time for me to retire. Qin Chu's uncle smiled. You have to bring the twins here often. I miss them so much. Qin Ning said with tears in her eyes. After a few days of being together, she really liked the twins. Now that they were leaving, she felt like she had been blinded. That feeling was really hard to bear. Ning Ning, you can go back and play when you're not busy. For sure. Maybe one day I'll fly over and find you guys. Qin Ning smiled and held back her tears. Qin Chu and Huamin got into the Bentley and watched the car drive away. Qin Ning couldn't help but cry. How old are you? Why are you crying? Qin Ning's father turned around and comforted his daughter. I miss my nieces so much. Qin Ning smiled with tears in her eyes. That night, the family of four went back to Hawaii to reunite with their grandparents. The next morning, the family of four flew back to China and stopped in Jing City. The long-distance flight was indeed very tiring. The twins were no longer as excited as they were at the beginning. Most of the time, other than eating and going to the bathroom, I slept. Qin Chu took care of one adult and two children by himself, for fear that they would catch a cold if they slept in the air conditioner. Therefore, she didn't sleep much and had been taking care of the mother and daughters. Finally, the plane landed in Sea City. Huamin stretched and straightened her body. I'm finally home. President Hua, how do you feel? Qin Chu turned to look at her. It feels great to be home. Nothing is as good as home. Nothing is as good as home, Huamian exclaimed with a smile. Honey, you're too humble. If your South Hill Manor is a doghouse, how are other people going to live? They can't even live in a doghouse. Qin Chu teased her. You're right, honey. What I mean is, nowhere is as good as home. Actually, now that I think about it, I miss our home in Imperial Park. That was our first house. Huamin smiled sweetly. That's easy. We'll continue to buy houses and stay there for a few days occasionally, Qin Chu suggested. Forget it, it's not just the two of us anymore, we have two more clowns. Huamian felt a heavy burden on her shoulders at the thought of the twins. So, President Hua, how was your trip this time? Do you have any thoughts? Qin Chu massaged Huamin's shoulders. I had a lot of fun, but there's one small regret, Huamin pouted and said after thinking for a moment. Oh, you have a regret? Tell me. Qin Chu was slightly surprised. Chapter 1966. Xiao Xue is in Chicago and I haven't visited her and the kids yet. It's a shame that she invited me twice and kept calling me. The problem is that we're in a rush. Mom and Dad don't want the kids to leave either. It seems like we'll have to stay longer next time. Don't worry. We'll visit the States more often. Qin Chu patted the back of Huamin's hand. Huamin tilted his head and looked at the two kids sleeping like pigs on the first-class seats. Pudding tilted her head and drooled. She was even snoring like a pig. She was so cute. Qin Chu was about to wake them up when Huamin stopped him. Honey, don't wake them up yet. Why? I want to record a short video for them. Qin Chu was speechless. You're cheating your kids, Mommy? Qin Chu was speechless. Huamin took out his phone and recorded a short video for his daughters. He was already imagining how they would react when they saw him like this. After the plane landed, the crew announced that they were getting off the plane. Qin Chu unbuckled his seatbelt and carefully woke the twins up. Babies were home. Wake up. Qin Chu's voice was extremely gentle. Huamin was jealous. Honey, you've never woken me up so gently. I usually prove it to you with my actions. Qin Chu smiled. Huamin immediately blushed. You're acting like a pervert in broad daylight again. Hurry up and wake the babies up. The first thing we need to do when we get home is jet lag. It's so painful. Qin Chu reminded him. Huamin walked over and the bodyguards helped him push a lot of luggage. Huamin and Qin Chu each carried the kids out of the airport. Daddy, are we home? Pudding opened her eyes and asked sleepily. Yeah. Are you happy? I'm happy. Why? Qin Chu asked with a smile. Because I can see handsome Sue. Little Bean didn't lie at all. Qin Chu was speechless. Okay. It seemed like her father was used to his daughter being obsessed with Suyu. Huamin held Little Bean in his arms and looked at the doll's hand with heartache. Although it was much better, there were still some marks left by the ferrule. Little Bean, does it still hurt? It doesn't hurt. Really? Really? Don't worry, Mommy. I'm Hercules. This little injury is nothing. Then, do you hate Mom in your heart? Huamin bit her lip. Her heart was filled with guilt. No, I love Mommy as always. Even if Mommy hits you, you'll forgive Mommy, right? Huamin asked again and again like a child. That's right. Even if Mommy hits me, I'll still forgive Mommy because Mommy didn't want it to happen. We were disobedient. Mommy taught us how to be a good person, so I won't blame Mommy. Not only me, but Sis won't either. Good girl. Mommy knows. Thank you for your understanding. Hearing the gluttonous Little Bean say such words, Huamin was very touched. Suddenly Little Bean said, Mommy, I want to pee. She suddenly felt like she couldn't hold it in. Huamin immediately put her down and looked around. The bathroom is over there. Mommy will take you there. Mommy, I want to go too. Pudding also wanted to pee and wanted to go. Chapter 1967. Qin Chu glanced at the bodyguards behind him. You guys go ahead and wait for us at the door. We'll take the kids to the washroom first. Okay, Mr. Qin. The bodyguards walked out of the door with their luggage. Qin Chu and Huamin held the twins' hands and went to the washroom. I'll wait for you guys at the door. Qin Chu stopped at the door of the women's washroom. Huamin nodded and walked in with the twins. The twins could take care of themselves and knew how to pee. After Huamin went in, he went to the washroom first and waited at the door. Because it was an airport, there were a lot of people. Mommy, I want to poop. Little Bean yelled, probably because she ate too much on the plane. Okay, take your time. Mommy's waiting for you at the door. When you're done, call Mommy and I'll go in and wipe your butt. Huamin smiled warmly. Okay, Mommy. Since Little Bean said she wanted to poop, Pudding didn't rush out. Huamin waited at the door inside while Qin Chu waited at the door outside. They were less than 3 meters away from each other. There were a lot of people going in and out of the washroom. However, there was only one exit, so Huamin didn't think too much about it. After he turned on his phone, he received a call from the company. Bella reported something urgent to Huamin. Huamin talked to Bella about work on the phone. Qin Chu was waiting for them at the door. He wasn't on his phone, but something caught his attention. A group of people was chasing after 2 people. The person running seemed to be a woman. She was wearing a black cashmere coat, a hat, and a mask. She ran very fast. The group of people behind her seemed to be reporters and fans. Fans chasing after their idols wasn't news in today's society. Qin Chu just looked at it and didn't think it was strange. However, the woman rushed into the washroom. Huamin couldn't stop them. The fans behind him also rushed in large batches. Huamin was so scared that he held his phone in a daze. What's going on? Huamin was dumbfounded. Why did you all come here? This is a dead end. There isn't even an exit. Miss Wen, we just want to interview you. Please don't run away. The male reporters couldn't enter, so they blocked the door. Huamin was frightened by the crowd. He walked out and stood beside Qin Chu. "Where's the child?" "She's inside. She said she wanted to poop." Huamin didn't think much of it. But after waiting for about 3 minutes, he still didn't come out. At this time, the crowd had already dispersed. The female celebrities, reporters, and fans had also left the restroom. Qin Chu was a little anxious. "Honey, go in and take a look. Why haven't you come out yet?" "Yes." Huamin nodded and returned to the toilet. "Little bean pudding, are you done?" Huamin asked. But there was no response. "Little bean? Pudding?" Huamin was a little puzzled. He raised his voice and called out again. There was still no response. Now, Huamin was anxious. He rushed in and pushed open the door. "Little bean pudding." She anxiously pushed open all the doors, but there was no response. The children were missing for no reason. "Pudding, little bean, answer me. Don't scare mommy." Huamin was so scared that his face turned pale. Qin Chu heard the noise. He didn't care that it was the women's restroom and rushed in. Then he grabbed Huamin's arm. "Honey, what's wrong?" "Honey, the children are missing." Huamin was so anxious that his legs turned to jelly. "How?" Qin Chu was also confused. There was only one exit, and he didn't see the children go out. Qin Chu and Huamin had been guarding the door, but the children really were gone. Chapter 1968. "They're really gone, honey?" Huamin's voice began to tremble, and his mind went blank. In a moment of desperation, Qin Chu pushed open the bathroom door one by one. However, he found that the bathroom was empty. "Little bean pudding, don't play hide and seek with mommy and daddy." Qin Chu called out tentatively. But it was still empty, and there was no response. "Honey, where do you think they're going? They shouldn't be. There's only one exit, and we've been at the door the whole time. If they came out, we would have noticed them." Huamin began to panic. "Let's go and watch the surveillance video." Qin Chu was also anxious, but he was calmer than Huamin. He held Huamin's hand and hurried to the airport surveillance room. After they revealed their identities, the person in charge of the airport immediately hung up the surveillance video for them. Qin Chu and Huamin stared at the video, watching it over and over again. The twins really didn't come out. That was until when that unknown celebrity entered, and a large number of reporters and fans rushed in as well. Things began to get strange. "Rewind it." Qin Chu narrowed his eyes and stared at the screen. The staff rewound the video. "Slow it down, thank you." Qin Chu stared at the screen and said coldly. After the video was slowed down, he noticed a detail. When the female celebrity in the woolen coat went in, she was empty-handed. When she came out, she had a big black travel bag in her hand. Because she was surrounded by people, no one noticed this detail. "Go and find out who this female celebrity is." Qin Chu looked at the person in charge. The person in charge made a round of phone calls, and in the end he replied blankly, "Mr. Qin, I've checked, and there are no female celebrities in the airport today. What about entering the airport?" "No one." The person in charge replied. Qin Chu frowned slightly. "That's strange. Could it be this person isn't a celebrity? Maybe it's just a trap." Huamin felt a chill run down his spine. "Honey, you mean this is a premeditated kidnapping?" Huamin's eyes widened. Find out where they went. There should be surveillance video at the entrance. Find out which car they left in." Qin Chu anxiously gave out orders. When they saw the video outside, Qin and Huamin were dumbfounded again. The woman had left in a silver-gray van, but the license plate of the van was clearly a fake one. Moreover, after the car started, it went on the road and no one knew where it went. "No, I'm going to call Gao Ran and ask him to help me investigate the whereabouts of this car. Then lock down the entire city. We can't let them take the kids away." And Gao ran in Huazance. Huamin finally figured out that this was a premeditated kidnapping. Although there was only one exit in the washroom, the problem was that after those people went in, they blurred their vision. This lowered Qin Chu and Huamin's vigilance. After all, this was an airport, a public place. Who would have thought that they could do something to the twins here? When the woman went in, she had an empty bag with her. When she came out, the twins should have been in the bag. The children didn't make a sound from beginning to end. They must have been drugged or injected with needles. Huamin felt like she was going to break down. If anything happened to her daughters, she wouldn't be able to live anymore. Chapter 1969. She regretted not waiting for him in the washroom. Why did she have to be so impatient? Why did she call the company at that time? If only she was more vigilant, then she wouldn't have known that her children were kidnapped. She was still standing at the door like an idiot. Qin Chu was also anxiously calling Gao Ran. President Qin, you're back from your trip? Gao Ran was happy to receive Qin Chu's call and wanted to tease him. Listen to me, right now get me all the traffic cameras in the city. I want to find a silver van with a license plate number A65288. It's driving out of the airport. Also, immediately order the city to be locked down. We can't let this van out. Bro, what's going on? Gao Ran was dumbfounded. My daughters have been kidnapped. What? Gao Ran was completely dumbfounded. Didn't you guys just come back from the States? Gao Ran was surprised. Yes, it happened at the airport. When? Just now. Qin Chu's voice sounded depressed. Okay, I'll look into it right away. Don't worry, you have to calm down. I know. Qin Chu nodded. Is Huamin okay? Gao Ran was worried. Because his mother was the one with the worst tolerance, Minshi. Qin Chu turned around and his expression changed. Huamin was on the verge of fainting. Qin Chu immediately hung up the phone and rushed over to help her up. Mian? Huamin's vision turned black and she fainted. Qin Chu was busy driving Huamin to the hospital. He also had to communicate with Gao Ran about tracking down the kidnappers. He was mentally and physically exhausted. At the headquarters of Imperial Star, Su Yu knew that today was the day that the twins were coming back because he had video calls with them every day. He had been thinking about them all this time. He even wanted to wait for them to return home and immediately pick them up for dinner. This was something that Grandpa had personally instructed him to do. After not seeing the twins for so long, the Su family couldn't take it anymore. But he didn't receive any news. Su Yu couldn't sit still and sent a WeChat message to Pudding. Baby, are you home yet? There was no response for a long time. In the end, Su Yu sent Huamin a WeChat message, feeling a little embarrassed. Are you home yet? I want to bring the children home for dinner later. My parents and Grandpa miss them very much. After sending the WeChat message, Su Yu waited for a long time, but there was still no reply. Suddenly, he felt that something was wrong. It was fine if the twins didn't reply, but Huamin shouldn't have. She was a very efficient person. If she saw the WeChat message, she would definitely reply immediately. After another 10 minutes, Su Yu couldn't take it anymore and called her. Qin Chu had just finished taking care of Huamin and was talking to the doctor. Then he received a call from Su Yu because he had Huamin's phone. When he saw that it was Su Yu calling, Qin Chu hesitated for a moment and then picked up the phone. Hello. When he heard that it was Qin Chu, Su Yu felt a little awkward. Qin Chu. Su Yu wasn't sure. It's me. Where's Huamin? She's at the hospital. At the hospital? What happened to her? She fainted. Fainted? Why would she do that all of a sudden? Didn't you guys just come back from the States? Su Yu panicked. Then why is she not feeling well? Is she too tired? Su Yu asked with concern. Su, my daughters are missing, Qin Chu explained word by word. He knew that Su Yu loved the twins very much, so he felt that it was necessary to tell him the situation. What did you say? Su Yu's mind went blank. When we arrived at the airport, the kids went to the washroom and were set up. The twins were kidnapped. I'm looking for them right now. Mian couldn't take it and just fainted. Qin Chu's voice was very heavy. Kidnapped? Are you sure they're not hiding and playing with you? Su Yu stood up with a whoosh, his expression changing. Chapter 1970. No, I watched the surveillance footage. This kidnapping was premeditated. Where are you now? The first hospital. Wait for me, I'll be there soon. Su Yu picked up the phone and sped away in his Lamborghini. Beside Su Yu was the silent, and 15 minutes later, Su Yu arrived at the first hospital. What's going on? Su Yu ran upstairs, panting. Before Qin Chu could speak, he asked in a panic. Qin Chu explained the situation to Su Yu briefly. His entire person instantly became unwell. Who dares to touch the twins? If I catch them, I'll chop them into pieces, Su Yu cursed. I've already ordered them to investigate. I'm sure we'll have news soon. Qin Chu was also waiting patiently. Just then his phone rang. It was Gao Ran again. Chu, come to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. What's wrong? The situation is a bit complicated right now. I'll tell you the details if you come. Gao Ran's tone was very serious. Qin Chu hung up the phone and looked at Su Yu. Can you do me a favor? What is it? Help me take care of Mion. When she wakes up, please comfort her. She's been devastated by the loss of the twins. She even lost the ability to think. I'm a bit worried about her condition. What about you? Su Yu asked. I'll go to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Gao Ran said the situation is a bit complicated. He's afraid it might involve confidential information, so it's not convenient for you to talk over the phone. Okay, then you go. Leave Huamin to me. Thank you. You're welcome, Qin Chu. Su Yu suddenly shouted. Qin Chu turned around and looked at him quietly. Stay strong. Pudding and Little Bean will be fine. They'll be protected by God. Qin Chu nodded heavily, then turned around and went downstairs. After Qin Chu left, Su Yu immediately ordered Shaoan, investigate this matter. Find out where the twins are at all costs. Once you discover their whereabouts, no matter what it takes, bring them back immediately. Kill whoever took them. Su Yu was also crazy. He directly gave the order to kill. Yes, President Su. After receiving Su Yu's order, and turned around and went downstairs to do something. Su Yu walked into the VIP ward. Huamin was still unconscious. There was a needle on the back of his hand, and he was injected with a nutrient solution. His face looked very pale. When Su Yu saw Huamin like this, he felt an inexplicable pain in his heart. Why do you have to go through so much? As a bystander, I can't bear to see you like this. God is so fucking unfair. Why do you have to set her up? Su Yu clenched his fists tightly. He wished he could lie here in place of Huamin. Huamin was a strong woman most of the time. She could do anything, be it a doctor or a president. Everything came easily to her. Nothing was too difficult for her. Now that she was lying here quietly without a sound, Su Yu felt that everything was meaningless. Su Yu sat quietly at the head of Huamin's bed. He pulled the corner of the blanket for her, afraid that she would be cold. Although the room was air-conditioned, he was still afraid. Me, you have to hang in there. You're a fairy, so nothing can stop you. God gave you so much training so that you can reach perfection in your human cultivation. When you reach the end of your life, you can go back to heaven. So, you still have a long way to go. Pudding and Little Bean are so cute and smart, so they'll be fine. They'll wake up safe and sound. So, before that happens, nothing must happen to you. When he said this emotionally, Su Yu couldn't help but hold Huamin's hand. Perhaps only in this way could he feel at ease and feel that she was close to him and hadn't gone far. When Qin Chu arrived at the Municipal Public Security Bureau, it took less than 10 minutes for him to speed. He even felt that every minute he was late or delayed, the girls would be in more danger. What did you find out? Qin Chu walked in and asked Gao Ran, panting. It's really troublesome. This time, do you know who came back? Gao Ran's expression was serious, and his eyebrows furrowed. Chapter 1971. Who is it? Qin Chu realized the severity of the situation. Huasi is back. Huasi? Qin Chu was slightly surprised. He hadn't heard this name in a long time. Back when the Hua family went bankrupt, Huasiqian single-handedly took control of the Hua family and even forced out his adoptive mother, Jiang Hong. He used extremely cruel methods to kill Hua Jinghai. Although the media didn't report this incident and the police didn't investigate, Qin Chu could still guess what was going on. Later on, Huamin wanted to team up with Hua Xiqian to take revenge on the Hua family. However, after seeing how miserable the Hua family was, Huamin couldn't bear to see Hua Zhenghai anymore and even went to see him one last time. After that incident, Hua Yanyan, Hua Si, and his mother, Xinjiani, were kicked out of the board of directors. Hua Yanyan didn't leave and lived a miserable life there. Hua Xiqian didn't do anything to her and left her to fend for herself. Xinjiani and her son fled abroad with their adulterer. They were never heard from again. A few years later, Huamin got pregnant and gave birth to a 3-year-old baby. However, Hua Si suddenly came back. When did this happen? I checked the immigration records and he's been back for a long time. We didn't pay attention to this incident and overlooked it. I think he's been here for a long time and planned carefully before he did something to the children, Gao Ran said. Xinjiani's husband came back too? Qin Chu's heart sank. He had a bad feeling about this. I'm not sure. Xinjiani probably changed her name and I couldn't find it. Hua Si also changed his name. But there are fingerprints here. I compared them. If I didn't help you find the baby, I wouldn't have known that he came back. Are you sure he has something to do with this? Qin Chu asked solemnly. I'm not sure, but I've been a detective for so many years, and my instincts are very accurate. I've rarely guessed wrong. Hua Si came back with something big. I think he wants to take revenge on Hua Xiqian and Huamin. After all, he always thought that Hua Xiqian and Huamin conspired to frame him. That's why he wants to start with the twins. Are you sure he's still in the city? He's still here. There's no record of him leaving. Do you know which hotel he's in? Qin Chu clenched his fists tightly. If it really was Hua Si, then the baby would be in danger. He was definitely back for revenge. I don't know. There are no check-in records in the hotels, so he shouldn't be staying in a hotel. I guess he's hiding in some abandoned factories or slums. After all, the roads there are complicated, so it's easy to hide. Qin Chu remained silent after hearing what Hua Xiqian said. Chu, don't worry. I'm going to say something unpleasant, but you should wait. Hua Si definitely didn't kidnap the twins just for them. I'm sure he wants to threaten you and Huamin. So, I think you two will receive a threatening text or phone call soon. My daughters are missing, and now you're telling me to sit here and do nothing? Qin Chu was a little angry. Calm down, I'm not telling you to sit here and do nothing. What I'm saying is that we can wait for news. If Hua Si really planned this, then he won't let you find him easily. Why don't you investigate how Hua Si has been living abroad for the past few days? What's his background? Gao Ran suggested. No. I don't care about anything else. I want to find my daughters first. Hurry up and get all the surveillance cameras in the city. For the first time, Qin Chu lost his cool. At this moment, he was just a father who had lost his children. Pudding, little bean. Huamin woke up from a nightmare. He screamed with all his might, sweating profusely. Him down. Su Yu held onto Huamin's arm tightly. He was afraid that she would drop the nutrition needle on his arm. I dreamed that the twins' faces were covered in blood and they were calling for their mommy. Huamin covered his face with his hands and began to cry. Su Yu's heart ached for Huamian. Me, calm down. I think the kids will be fine. There are lucky stars. I'm sure they'll come back safe and sound. At an abandoned factory in the suburbs, Big Brother, we've got the kids. What should we do with them? A few monkey-like men dressed in black put down their luggage on the ground. Hua Si looked down at the unconscious twins, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 1972. So they're Huamin's children. They're just as cheap as their mother. Hua Si glanced at the twins coldly. Boss, should we kill them now? Hua Si's subordinate made a throat-slitting gesture. Are you stupid? If we kill them now, how are we going to get the ransom? Hua Si glared at his subordinate. What should we do with these 2 kids? Lock them in the warehouse and feed them like normal. I'll think about it and call Huamin later. Then Hua Si laughed coldly and turned to leave. After a while, the twins woke up groggily after the effects of the drug wore off. Where the hell is this place? Little Bean opened her eyes and was dumbfounded. Pudding also got up groggily. I think we were kidnapped. Pudding tried to recall. She and Little Bean went to the washroom at the airport and heard a lot of noise. Then they smelled a weird smell that smelled like smoke. After that, she didn't remember anything. Kidnapped? What the fuck? Are we in a horror movie? Little Bean didn't expect that she and her sister would be kidnapped. Calm down. Let me see where we are. Then, Pudding quickly got up and found that they were in a cold warehouse. Pudding looked around. There was only a small skylight and she couldn't reach it. Sis, are we still in Sea City? I'm not sure. Our phones and watches were taken, Pudding calmly replied. What the fuck? Then we're dead meat? Little Bean was dumbfounded. Don't panic. Since these people managed to kidnap us in front of Mommy and Daddy, they must have planned this for a long time. I suspect that they're after the ransom money. After all, the whole country knows that our family is rich, Pudding analyzed. There are so many rich people. Why would they kidnap just us? Aren't they a little too lucky? Little Bean said sarcastically. Shoo, don't be so noisy. Let me see what's going on. Then, Pudding walked to the door and banged on it loudly. Is anyone there? Someone. I'm hungry. I want to eat. Sure enough, the door opened in less than a minute. A man with a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks looked at the two of them with shifty eyes. Little brat, what are you shouting for? I'm hungry. I want to eat. Hee hee, you're still in the mood to eat? Do you know where this is? The man smiled. I don't care where it is. You have to feed us. If we starve to death together, you won't get the huge ransom. Io. Not bad. You actually know about the ransom? The man was a little surprised. He couldn't imagine that this was said by a child who looked less than 3 years old. Bring me some food and water. Cut the crap, Pudding said coldly. I want teriyaki chicken, Little Bean added. You still want to eat drumsticks? Do you think this is a restaurant? The man was annoyed. Dahai, go and get some lunchboxes for the two brats. The man ordered, and the other man immediately brought 2 lunchboxes over and placed them directly at the door. Who are you? Why did you capture us? Pudding glanced at the man and asked. What does it have to do with me? Who's your boss? Do we know each other? Io, little brat, you're still too young to get information from me. Don't worry, you'll find out soon enough. Hee hee, let your parents worry for a while. It'll be easier to negotiate later. Then the man laughed and locked the door. Pudding lowered her head and walked over with the lunchboxes. Little Bean, eat first. Keep your strength up so we can find a chance to escape. Chapter 1973. Sis, can we really find a chance to escape? Little Bean was obviously surprised by Pudding's words. Even if we can't, we have to. We can't just sit here and wait for death, right? But I think Mommy and Daddy will be worried sick if they find out that we're missing. Little Bean puffed out her cheeks and stared at her sister with her big round eyes. Mommy and Daddy will definitely find us. They're so smart. Don't worry, Pudding comforted her sister. But sister, won't we be killed before Mommy and Daddy arrive? They'll kill you first. Pudding glanced at her sister indifferently. But Little Bean was obviously not convinced. People are afraid of fame and pigs are afraid of being fat. You're so fat, of course they'll kill you first, Pudding joked. Qin Zhao Zhao, your joke isn't funny at all. Plus, you're still joking with me at a time like this? Aren't you a bit too relaxed? Little Bean sweated. I'm just kidding. Don't be so nervous. Come, let's eat. We'll talk about it after we're full. Then, Pudding led her sister to the corner of the warehouse. The two of them each had a box of lunch. Holding the box in their small hands, they looked a bit sad. This is for you. More. After Pudding opened the box, she saw that there were only 2 dishes. One was braised pork that looked greasy, and the other was stir-fried spinach. The food was really bad. In Little Bean's words, even the chickens, ducks, geese, and dogs at home wouldn't eat this kind of food that looked like pig food. Maybe it was because they bought it for too long, so it was a bit cold. Sis, there's only 2 pieces of meat. How about you? Little Bean looked at her sister with puppy eyes. I don't like meat. I'm sick of it. Vegetables are good. They have vitamins. Then Little Bean began to eat with big bites. Oof, you're always so two-faced. I know you love me, but will it kill you to say it out loud? Seriously? How can you say you have a temper like Daddy? I think you're worse than Daddy. Daddy always confesses to Mommy. Little Bean complained about her sister's personality. Please, Chin Mumu. Daddy and Mommy are husband and wife, and we're sisters. How can we compare? Idiot. Little Bean. The two sisters chatted, quarreled, and ate. Time passed quickly. The most important thing was that Little Bean wasn't that scared anymore because she was with her sister. Pudding gave all the meat to Little Bean. Afraid that Little Bean would feel cold, she sat in the corner and hugged her tightly. Tell her something funny that you saw in a book or on TV. On the other hand, Wuxia was looking through the twins' phones. These two brats actually have such an advanced mobile phone. He found it a little unbelievable that the two little guys were holding the most advanced mobile phones on the market. Boss, it's almost time. Can we call for the ransom? The shifty-eyed man walked over and smiled. What's the hurry? How are they doing? Wuxia asked impatiently. She's in good condition. She said she was hungry, so I brought her some food and water. There's such a thing? As expected of a child with an abnormally high IQ, to be able to remain so calm. Boss, who do you think we should call? We've been investigating for a long time and we've learned a lot. These twins are not only Huamin and Qinchu's pets, but they're also Su Yu's favorite. Can we extort both at the same time? One of Wuxia's men suggested. Chapter 1974. Don't be too greedy. I'm here for revenge. The ransom isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is to take back what belongs to me. I won't let those bastards, Wuxia and Huamin, off the hook. So, this time, we're not only after the money, we're after them as well. Huamin is easy to deal with. He'll definitely come because the kids are here. But Wuxia, it's not easy to deal with him. He's too cautious. There's no way we can make a move on him. The subordinate frowned. Wuxia smiled sinisterly. Don't worry. I have a way to deal with Wuxia. I'll make sure he doesn't put up a fight. Time passed by. Before they even reached home, the twins were lost at the airport. This was a huge blow to Huamin and Qinchu. Huamin didn't tell Zhixin and the others because he didn't want his mother and brother to worry. In the hospital, she was in a daze. She was in so much pain that she wanted to die. Mian, you can't solve the problem like this. You have to pull yourself together. Su Yu rarely had the patience to comfort someone. I can't pull myself together. I only know that if anything happens to my daughters, I'll kill myself immediately. Huamin's thoughts were extreme. She blamed herself. Last night, before she came back to China, she taught the two kids a lesson in Los Angeles. She even beat Little Bean 10 times. Although she thought it was too harsh, she taught them a lot. Who knew that the twins would suddenly disappear as soon as she came back? Even if she wanted to apologize to Little Bean and Pudding, it was too late. Suyu, where do you think they're going? They're only 3 years old. What if those bad guys go crazy? This isn't a last-minute plan. They must have planned this for a long time. I'm so scared. I'll give them all the money they want. But I'm really scared that they'll hurt my kids. Tell me, what should I do? Huamin was extremely emotional. She was extremely unstable as she cried. Suyu felt nothing but heartache. Mian, calm down. Now's not the time to think. The kids will be fine. They wouldn't just want to hurt the twins. They'll definitely ask for ransom. We'll give them whatever they want. Even if we don't have the money, we'll go out and borrow it. We'll agree to whatever they want as long as they don't hurt the kids. Where's my husband? I need to call him. No, I need to ask him how the investigation is going. I have to find them as soon as possible. The two of them are afraid of the dark and the cold. Huamin started crying again. At this moment, she was as weak as a child. She was no longer as strong and calm as before. Perhaps, all women would have a fragile heart after becoming mothers, especially when it came to children. Seeing that Qinchu had left for a while, Huamin excitedly picked up his phone and dialed Qin Chu's number. "Hubby, where are you?" "I'm at the city bureau." Qin Chu's voice sounded exhausted, and he did not feel optimistic. Huamin felt a chill in his heart. "Do you have any news? Did you find any leads?" "So, don't worry, honey. Just focus on recovering. The kids will be fine. Gao Ran and I have been investigating. We've already found something. Don't worry, leave it to me." Qin Chu was extremely worried about Huamin. "What leads did you find? I want to know." "Honey, you have to believe me. I want to know. Tell me now." Huamin was anxious. Finally, Qin Chu sighed slightly. "The person who kidnapped the kids is most likely Huamin." Qin Chu thought about it and decided not to hide this from Huamin. "Huasi? He's back?" Huamin was slightly surprised. It had been a long time since he heard this name. It had been more than 4 years. Chapter 1975. Yeah, he's back. He changed his name and entered the country secretly. That's why we didn't find out. Qin Chu hated himself for being so careless. He didn't think that Huasiqian would dare to come back. After all, Huasiqian wanted to kill them. He also didn't think that Huasiqian would come back to take revenge on Huasiqian. Instead, he kidnapped their children. If it's Huasi, then he's definitely going to take revenge on me. Huamin calmed down when he heard about Huasi. "Don't worry, honey. Huasi is simple-minded and won't amount to much. He just wants money. We'll give it to him as long as he doesn't hurt Pudding and Little Bean." Qin Chu was afraid that Huamin would get agitated. "I got it. Are you feeling better?" Qin Chu asked with concern. "I'm much better. Don't worry about me. Finding the kids is more important." "Okay, give the phone to Suyu," Qin Chu said confidently. Then, Huamin handed the phone to Suyu. "Hey, it's me." Suyu felt weird talking to Qin Chu. After all, they were love rivals. "Please keep an eye on Huamian for me. I have a feeling that Huasi will call her or me to ask for the ransom. I'm afraid that Huamian will be too impulsive and take the ransom herself. It's too dangerous. After all, Huasiqian doesn't just want the money, he wants revenge as well. So please keep an eye on her and call me immediately if anything happens." "No problem. Don't worry." Suyu nodded. After hanging up, Huamin asked Suyu, "What did my husband say to you?" "He told me to take good care of you at the hospital. You're not in good health, so you have to be careful. You just came back and you're still jet-lagged. You need to rest. Don't tire yourself out when the kids come back." "Really?" Huamin obviously didn't believe him. "Of course. When have I ever lied to you?" Suyu felt a little guilty. "I'm a little hungry. Go buy me something to eat," Huamin suddenly said. "What do you want to eat? I can get someone to buy it. You don't have to go down personally, it's too troublesome." Seeing that Suyu didn't fall for it, Huamin didn't dare to say anything more. In the municipal bureau, Qin Chu and Gao Ran, as well as many policemen, started to investigate all kinds of things, but the scope was too big, and it was really difficult to find in a short time. "Who do you think Huasi would call to ask for the ransom?" Gao Ran looked at Qin Chu and asked. "It's probably Mion." "Because he wants revenge?" Gao Ran frowned. Qin Chu nodded. He was very worried. "Then do you think Huasiqian will be dragged into this as well?" Gao Ran analyzed. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He seemed to be thinking about something. In the hospital, time ticked by slowly. Huamin kept staring at her phone, and Suyu also noticed that she was staring at her phone. "I'm going to the washroom. You're not going to follow me, are you?" Huamin stood up and glanced at Suyu. "Of course not. Do I look like such a perverted person?" Huamin discreetly held onto her phone and hid her earphones in her palm. Then she stood up and went to the washroom in the suite. Suyu was a little worried, so he waited for her at the door, afraid that she was hiding something from him. Huamin sat on the toilet and stared at her phone screen. In less than 3 minutes, as expected, it was a call from a number that started with 1009. Because she had her earphones on, there was no sound. Huamin picked up the call and put on her earphones. "Huamin, long time no see." Huamin's proud voice came through, and Huamin felt a chill in her heart. Huamin, where are my daughters? Huamin's voice was very soft, but because it was close to the earphones, Huamin could definitely hear it. Su Yu, who was guarding the door, couldn't hear because the door was blocking her. Chapter 1976. Don't worry. They're in my hands. Huasi smiled proudly. Please don't hurt them. Come at me. Huamin was extremely nervous. Don't worry. This time, I'm here for you. How much do you want? I'll give you everything. But you have to promise me that you won't hurt a single hair on my daughters. Otherwise, I won't let you off the hook, Huamin threatened. You better understand the situation. They're in my hands now and I have the upper hand. You don't have the right to threaten me or negotiate with me. I don't know if you'll hurt their hair, but I do know that if you don't do as I say, they'll become 2 corpses. Huasi threatened. Huasi, I beg you. Don't do that. They're still young and innocent. They don't know anything. If you have a grudge against me, you can do whatever you want to me. I, Huamin, will let you do whatever you want to me. Since you're willing to go all out, I'm relieved. Huamin's impatience was exactly what Huasi wanted. How much money do you want? I'll get someone to prepare it right now. Huamin was extremely anxious. He couldn't wait to get the money to ransom his daughters. Do you think the grudge between us can be resolved with money? Huasi said viciously. Then what do you want? In order not to let Su Yu hear them, Huamian lowered her voice. I want you to come here, alone. You can't call the police or tell Qin Chu. You can't alert anyone. If I come, will you let my daughters go? Huamin asked tentatively. Of course. We'll exchange hostages, Huasi requested. That's fine. No problem. You can leave now. I'll let you know. Wait for my call. No. You can't call me. If I disappear, my husband will check my phone and listen to my call records. So, you better think of something else. Huamin considered the possibility that he was being followed. He was afraid that if he angered Huasi, the children would be in danger. Huamin took Huasi's advice seriously. Thinking that it made sense, he nodded and immediately said, Then, you go out immediately and go to the intersection of Tongshan Street. There will be a black van there, and someone will be waiting for you there. Just get in the car. Remember, don't expose your whereabouts, or I won't show mercy to your child. Don't hurt them. I'll do as you say. However, you must also guarantee that you'll release them once I'm there. We'll talk when you get here. I told you that you have no right to negotiate with me. Then Huasi hung up the phone. When Huamin came out, he hid his earphones and walked out casually with his phone in his hand. You don't look well. Are you okay? Su Yu stepped forward to help her. I'm fine. Huamin shook his head. As soon as she finished speaking, she closed her eyes and fainted. Luckily, Su Yu was by her side. Otherwise, she would have been lying on the ground. Su Yu was scared out of his wits. He picked up Huamin and placed her on the bed. Then, he opened the door and ran out to call the doctor. Doctor? Someone, she fainted. Su Yu saw that Huamin had fainted and immediately ran out to call for help. He didn't even think about anything else. The moment Su Yu turned around, Huamin opened her eyes, got up from the ground, opened the door, and ran out. Chapter 1977. Huamin was running in the opposite direction of Su Yu, which was the exit. When Su Yu came back with the doctor, he found that Huamin was gone. He was dumbfounded and realized that he had fallen into a trap. So, he immediately picked up his phone and called Qin Chu. Qin Chu, what is it? Huamin. For the first time, Su Yu felt guilty and didn't dare to say it out loud. What happened to her? Hearing Su Yu's hesitation, Qin Chu became even more nervous. She pretended to faint and I was so scared that I went to get the doctor. When I came back, she was gone, Su Yu said anxiously. Gone? How is that possible? Then, did you hear her receive any suspicious calls? Qin Chu suspected that Huamin was contacted by Huasi. I didn't receive any calls, but what? But before she fainted, she went to the washroom. Because of the soundproofing, I'm not sure if she picked up the call or not. She was in the washroom for about 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, I understand. After Qin Chu hung up, Suyu was also very anxious. He began to call around and use his connections, trying to find out more about Huamin and the kids. At this time, Qin Ning called. Suyu didn't recognize Qin Ning's number. When he saw that it was an American call, he slightly hesitated. Then he picked it up. Suyu? Qin Ning asked uncertainly. It's me, who is this? Hello, I'm Qin Ning. Qin Ning? I remember now. Qin Chu's sister. Suyu suddenly realized. It's me. I looked at the time and my brother's family should have landed safely. I video called Pudding and Little Bean, but they didn't pick up. Then I called my sister-in-law, but she didn't pick up. I called my brother, but he didn't pick up either. I started to panic. Did something happen? How do you know my number? Suyu felt a little strange. She was surprised that Qin Ning could call Suyu directly. When Little Bean and Pudding were here, they often talked about it. Your number is easy to remember, so I wrote it down. I hope I didn't disturb you. Not really, but there's a bit of trouble right now. What trouble? Did something happen to them? Qin Ning's heart skipped a beat. Qin Chu didn't pick up Qin Ning's call because he wasn't in the mood to explain to her. He also didn't want her to worry. Suyu also knew, but this kind of thing couldn't be kept a secret for long. Something did happen. Let me tell you. You have to stay calm and promise not to tell the other members of your family, especially the elders. They'll be worried. Okay, go ahead. The twins, they're missing. Suyu told Qin Ning the truth. Missing? Then, what does that mean? Qin Ning didn't understand at first. It means they've been kidnapped. Maybe. Kidnapped? Hearing this word, Qin Ning's mind went blank. How can that be? My brother has always been very careful. He has reliable bodyguards everywhere he goes. How can someone kidnap the twins right under his nose? It's unbelievable. Obviously, the kidnapper planned this. No matter how well your brother prepared, there's always a flaw. Right now, it's not about whether your brother is careful or not. The problem's, we're all looking for the twins. It's very urgent. Then my sister-in-law must be worried sick. As a mother, she must be the most upset, Qin Ning said as she cried. Your sister-in-law just disappeared too, Suyu said intermittently. What? Qin Ning couldn't accept this. Your brother told me to keep an eye on her, but she sent me away. She probably received a call from the kidnapper and went to save the twins. Oh my God, my sister-in-law is a weak woman. How can she save the twins by herself? How can she be so stupid? For the first time, Qin Ning felt that her highly intelligent sister-in-law was so irrational. Chapter 1978. Ming isn't usually this impulsive. It's just that she gets really emotional when it comes to her children. Of course, every mother has the instinct to protect their children. It's the halo of motherly love. Qin Ning sobbed quietly. Don't cry and don't worry. Your brother and I have already tried our best to find them. It won't take long. Do you know who they are? Qin Ning asked. I heard it's Wuxia, one of your sister-in-law's enemies. It looks like things aren't looking good. It's okay if they're after a ransom, but I'm afraid they're after revenge. Suyu, I heard that your family is very powerful. Please save the twins and my sister-in-law. You can't let anything happen to them, okay? Qin Ning cried and begged Suyu, don't worry. Even if you didn't ask, I would have done my best. You mean a lot to the twins. You're very important to them. You're second only to my brother, their biological father. Do you know what happened in Los Angeles this time? What? The twins went out alone to buy you a present. They ditched me and all the bodyguards, avoided all the surveillance cameras, and disappeared for 4 hours. We were scared out of our wits. They wanted to get rid of the adults and go out alone to buy you a present. When my sister-in-law found out, she was furious and taught them a lesson. She even hit Little Bean. Suyu didn't say anything after hearing this, but he felt really bad. The present should still be in the luggage. It's a limited edition Versace belt. Pudding said you like this brand. These two kids. Suyu choked up. When we were in the States, Pudding and Little Bean told me every day how good their handsome Su is and how much he loves them, just like their daddy. So, I've been influenced by what I've seen and heard. I think kids are the most innocent and won't lie. They know who's really good to them, and that's why they love you so much. Yeah. I love them very much too. Thinking about how they spent time together for the past 3 years, Suyu had been entangled with them since the moment they were carried out of the delivery room. Just like Huamin, he felt the joy of being a parent as he watched the two little guys grow up day by day. Now that the child was gone, he was just as worried as Qin Chu and Huamin. So, you have to save them. I beg you, Su. I beg you. Perhaps Qin Ning was influenced by the twins, or perhaps she knew that Suyu had a military background, so she felt that he was very powerful and omnipotent. She kept begging Suyu to save her. In fact, Suyu was more anxious than anyone else. I will. I will definitely save them. Don't worry. Then I'll book a flight back to China right now. Then, before Suyu could respond, Qin Ning hung up. Suyu raised his hand and wiped the corner of his eyes. There were actually wet tears. The twins had caused so much trouble just to buy him a gift. No wonder Huamin kept blaming himself for being too fierce to them. These two kids were really... Inside the municipal bureau, hearing that Huamin was missing, Qin Chu immediately asked Gao Ran to investigate Huamin's phone records. Sure enough, he heard the conversation between her and Huasi. After hearing the conversation, Qin Chu's expression became even more serious. He asked Huamin to go alone. He must be up to no good. She can't go. Huamin is really stupid. Gao Ran regretted. For the children, she will definitely go. I know her. Qin Chu was surprisingly calm. Did you find out where Huasi's voice came from? Qin Chu turned around and looked at the young policeman behind him. Chapter 1979. No, the enemy used an anti-tracking device to hide their departure point. This doesn't seem like Huasi's style. It seems like he came back with a master, Gao Ran analyzed. They all grew up together. Although they didn't know Huasi Qian well, they could tell from his past actions that he was a brainless and impulsive person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been killed so easily by Huasi Qian. It didn't seem like Huasi's style to be so cautious. If he had a brain, he wouldn't have been in such a sorry state when Huasi Qian played him, Qin Chu said faintly. Do you think Xin Jiani came back too? Gao Ren guessed. It's hard to say. We don't have any information on her entering the country. Boss, we found it. Mrs. Qin did go to the intersection of Tangshan Street and got into the black van. According to Huamin's phone records, they found out that she did go to that place. Where did the van go? Qin Chu and Gao Ran asked in unison. Not long after it got on the highway, it got off at a small intersection. There are no surveillance cameras there because it's a rural area. There are many villages. We can't be sure where it went. Could Huasi be hiding in that village? Gao Ran analyzed in confusion. Qin Chu shook his head. No, Huasi is probably just trying to confuse us. The van went there to attract our attention. The final location wouldn't be there. What do we do now? Gao Ran was also panicking because the clues they found were all useless. We still have to check the abandoned factory in the western suburbs and the slums in the northern suburbs. We have to find Huasi even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground. Qin Chu clenched his fists tightly. He was more than sad at this moment. His wife and children were in the hands of the enemy. No one was sadder than him. However, he had to force himself to calm down and think of the best way to save them. Time ticked by. For Qin Chu and Suyu, it was an extremely long torment. Not long after, Suyu also went to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Together with Gao Ran and Qin Chu, he took command and deployed the plan. At the same time, in an abandoned factory in the suburbs. Help, help, Pudding yelled. Brat, what's the matter? I need to go to the toilet. Just pee inside, the kidnappers said perfunctorily. No, I want to poop, not pee. Then poop inside. How can that be? It's so dirty and smelly. I don't want to eat or sleep. Pudding complained. Those people were playing cards, and they were getting a headache from all the noise. Dahai, go and take that brat outside to take a dump. Watch him closely. Okay, don't worry. She can't run away. The man called Dahai got up, opened the door, and walked out with Pudding. Little Bean, on the other hand, sat inside quietly. Her face was very calm. After Pudding followed the man out, she immediately looked around vigilantly. It was a very deserted factory. There were weeds all around, and there were no residents at all. Okay, don't go. Just squat there. The man pointed at an empty space. Turn your face away. Hey Brett, do you think I'll take advantage of you? Men and women are different. Turn your head away. Don't do something as dirty as peeking at girls using the toilet. Pudding pointed at him with her hands on her hips. The man didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Chapter 1980. Okay. Even if I turn around, you won't run away. The man knew that Pudding wouldn't run away. That's for sure. I won't leave my sister behind and run away. What a smart kid. You're so logical. The man admired the 3-year-old kid from the bottom of his heart. When Pudding squatted down to use the bathroom, she was still looking around, trying to find a breakthrough. At the same time, she asked, Hey, Blockhead, why didn't you be a good person? Why did you become a kidnapper? Blockhead? The man named Dahai froze. Of course. There's only the two of us here. If it wasn't you, who else would I be talking about? Pudding said proudly. The man was confused by Pudding's words. What? Is my question that hard to answer? It's no use being a good person. I used to want to be a good person, but in the end, I was still looked down upon. I fucking understand this society. No matter what you do, people don't care about the process, they care about the result. As long as you have money, even if you steal or rob, people will look up to you. If you don't have money, no matter how noble or great you are, it's useless. In this day and age, if Lei Feng was still alive, he would be called an idiot. The man was probably distressed as well, so he complained to Pudding all at once. But, you know what? Good and evil will always be rewarded. The 3-character classic says that people are born good. I believe that you're a good person and wouldn't walk down this path for no reason. You must be forced by life, right? Forced by life? Yes so. If I had a choice, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Blockhead, you just need money. I think you're just a small fry here. Even if you get the ransom from my dad, you won't get much of it. The majority will go to your boss. So, do you want to work with me? Work with you? Don't mess around. The man was about to turn around. Don't look back. If I expose myself, I'll be very angry, Pudding reminded him seriously. Okay. I won't look back. You won't expose yourself. Don't beat me up. The man suddenly realized that this child was very funny. Although he was small, he always spoke in a mature and experienced tone. So, do you want to work together? Pudding asked calmly. How to cooperate? The man obviously just wants to tease her. You find a chance to let us go, and I'll ask my daddy to give you a lot of money. For example, you can only get 2 million for kidnapping us here, but I can ask my daddy to give you 10 times more. Just for you alone, 20 million? That's a good deal, right? It's a good deal. Sounds good. The blockhead smiled. If you let us go, my dad will be grateful to you. Not only will he not call the police, but he will also let you take the money with a clear conscience. You can rest easy. If you got the money by kidnapping us, you will always be the most wanted criminal. Even if you have the money, you can only live a sneaky life. In comparison, I believe I don't need to say more, you will understand which one you want. Pudding calmly analyzed the current situation for him. The man actually realized that this little brat's words made a lot of sense. If he had a choice, who would want to be a wanted criminal who hid from place to place? Seeing that he was a little shaken, Pudding struck while the iron was hot and said, Technology is so advanced now, it's very easy for the police to catch people. Actually, kidnapping is a serious crime. If the nature of the crime is bad, you will be locked up for decades. You don't look very old, so why waste your youth in prison? You must have parents and elders who miss you. Don't let them worry about you. Shut up, little brat. Stop talking. Pudding's words touched the man's heart. He realized that he couldn't take it anymore. Chapter 1981. You don't want me to say it because I know what's on your mind, right? No, it's not what you're saying. I finally have a chance to be alone with you. If it were anyone else, I definitely wouldn't say this to you. Do you know why I chose you? Pudding pressed. Because out of all of you, you're the only one who seems to have a conscience. There's no way to save those people. Their hearts have been invaded by demons. Sometimes, heaven and hell can be decided in an instant. The most important thing is how you choose. You're not a smart person. Maybe you're not that smart, but you're definitely not a crazy person. You're involved in this because you need money, right? How do you know I need money? The man named Dahai was indeed dumbfounded. He didn't think that the child would guess what was on his mind. He was indeed the one with the worst family background. He was also the one who needed money the most. It was also his first time doing something like this. Those people all took care of his meals. Not only were they petty thieves, but they were also involved in child trafficking. One of them was from his hometown. When he found him, he said that he was responsible for taking care of 2 children. After he was done, he would give him 200,000 yuan. He thought it was feasible. Moreover, his family was indeed short of money. His mother was hospitalized because of a brain hemorrhage, and he had to scrape together the money to pay for it. Later, even his relatives and friends didn't want to help him because they thought he didn't have the ability to pay them back. He told his father that he wanted to work and think of a way out. However, as soon as he entered the city, he boarded a pirate ship. At first, he thought that it wouldn't be difficult to catch 2 children. Later, he realized that the money wasn't that easy to get. From what he heard, the children's parents were very influential. This was extremely dangerous. If he was caught by the police, he would be dead. If he was caught by the children's parents, he would also be dead. However, there was no turning back. He could only bite the bullet and do it. Now that Pudding's words hit the nail on the head, he began to waver. Because if you weren't forced into a corner, you wouldn't do something like this. Looking at you, I know that your parents are honest people. You're the same big dummy. You're not a bad person. Pudding repeatedly brainwashed the man named C, and the effect was obvious. My parents are indeed simple and kind people. They've been farming in the mountains and have never seen the world. They've never been to a KTV. Every penny they earn is hard-earned money, but I've embarrassed them. I didn't even have enough money to treat my mother. I'm really a good-for-nothing. What's wrong with your mother? Pudding caught the main point of the question again. Cerebral hemorrhage. It's quite serious. He's still in the hospital in the county. Unfortunately, we don't have any money, so we won't be able to stay for long. That's why I'm willing to do anything. When he said that, Dahai was filled with regret. He hugged his head and squatted on the ground. Pudding slowly got up and pulled up her pants. She walked over. Actually, she didn't want to poop at all. She just wanted to take the opportunity to see the situation outside and find a breakthrough. She placed her little hand on Dahai's shoulder. Listen to me, blockhead. Cerebral hemorrhage isn't a serious illness. My mommy is an outstanding doctor. My mommy was the one who operated on my grandfather when he was so seriously ill. Really? Your mother is a doctor? What a coincidence. Dahai turned around. Chapter 1982. Yeah, he's a famous doctor at Southside. You can ask around if you don't believe me. Also, my dad graduated from Harvard Medical School, the best university in the world. He specializes in neurosurgery. I think your mom's illness won't be a problem in their hands. They're amazing. Really? Don't lie to me. Don't worry. Although I'm a kid, I know I can't lie. If you can find a chance to let us go, I'll ask my parents to treat your mom's illness. I'll also give you a lot of money so that you won't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of your lives. Dahai was in a difficult position when he heard that Pudding would let them go. I've said what I need to say. I won't force you. You can weigh the pros and cons. Pudding saw that the time was right and didn't want to say too much. She believed that a normal person would make a clear choice. You're right, but the problem isn't that simple. There are so many people here and they're all outlaws. Even if I let you go, I won't have the chance. I'm afraid that before I let you go, the plan will be exposed and we'll all be finished. As soon as Dahai said this, footsteps came from inside. Pudding immediately let go of his hand and stepped back. You've been taking a dump for so long. What are you waiting for? The monkey-faced man walked out and looked at them impatiently. Kids have diarrhea. Dahai smiled. Are you done? Hurry up and bring them in. Big Brother E might come. If anything goes wrong, you'll be held responsible. I know. Dahai immediately picked Pudding up and walked inside. Pudding didn't speak on the way. Indeed, Dahai was convinced by her words. However, he didn't have the power to let them go. Those people were all there. Unless he sent them away. But that wasn't possible. Pudding was troubled. She lowered her head and didn't speak. She was thinking about something else. When they returned to the warehouse, she immediately ran over. Sis, how is it? What's the situation? This is an abandoned factory. There are no people around. It's desolate and covered in weeds. Even if we escape, it'll be difficult. But I'm sure that we haven't left Sea City. That's much easier. I'm sure Daddy will find us. How are you so sure that we're still in the city? Little Bean was surprised. Because I saw the TV tower. Although it's far away, I can't be wrong. It's the most iconic TV tower here. Perfect. As long as we don't leave this place, the chances of Daddy and Mommy finding us are very high. Sis, you're so smart. Little Bean looked at Pudding with admiration. I wanted to turn that big blockhead over to my side, but how is it? It didn't work? Little Bean was curious. Well, you can say that. I was too naive. Even if he wants to help us, he doesn't have the ability to do so. The one who really has the final say here is that monkey-faced man, but he's definitely a fugitive, and he won't listen to us. Fugitives? Oh my God, then, will they kill us? Killing the hostage? Sis, I'm so scared. Little Bean started to lose her composure again. They won't. Don't worry. At least, before they get the ransom, we won't be in any danger, Pudding said with certainty. I really don't know which bastard kidnapped us. Fuck, when I get out, I'm going to chop him into pieces. Little Bean was so angry that she pouted and cursed. Inside another factory in the suburbs, Big Brother E. Huamin is here, one of his subordinates reported. Huasi slowly stood up from his chair. Chapter 1983. Bring her in. Huasi was restless as if he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. When Huamin was brought in, she was wearing an eye mask. Ever since she got into the van, her mouth was gagged and she had to wear an eye mask. It seemed like Huasi was a lot more cautious than before. Then, after many twists and turns, they walked through many places and seemed to have passed through many small paths before they finally reached their destination. Huamin almost got carsick from the bumpy ride. Since she didn't have time to change her clothes when she got off the plane, Huamin was still wearing summer clothes. She was wearing the same clothes she wore in Hawaii. It was a light blue long-sleeved shirt with an A-line skirt that went past her knees. She looked elegant and smart. Her hands were clean and she didn't have any jewelry on her. Huamin was a very low-key person. She didn't show off her wealth and she wouldn't wear branded clothes on the streets. Not many people would think that she was the young president of GK who had been in charge of the company for 3 years. Take off her eye mask, Huasi ordered. Then, one of his subordinates pulled off Huamin's eye mask. She looked up and her vision gradually became clearer. Huasi walked over to her and removed the gauze from her mouth. Huamin, you didn't expect me to come back, did you? It's really... Huamin glanced at Huasi's face indifferently. They hadn't seen each other for 4 years and he had changed a lot. His facial features were much more mature and much older. His skin had also turned dark, and there were some scars of various sizes on his face that were not very obvious. Huasi was wearing a black leather jacket. His entire body emitted a vicious aura. He looked at Huamin with eyes full of hatred. I'm curious, Why didn't you look for Wuxia? Why did you look for me? After all, he's your first target, right? Huh, that bastard Wuxia is very cautious. He's not that easy to catch. In comparison, you're easier to catch. Wuxia smiled viciously. Where are my daughters? I want to see them. Let her have a look, Wuxia instructed. One of the men walked over with a phone in his hand. Looking at the video, it should be from another place. The twins sat in the warehouse. They looked so pitiful that Huamin couldn't help but cry when he saw them. Wuxia, keep your word. I'm here now. Let my daughter go. I'm sorry, Huamin. I never keep my word. Are you still a man? Huamin was annoyed. I came back this time with a clear goal. It's for revenge. So, I don't care if my methods are honorable or not. I don't care if I'm a man or not. Even if you're trying to provoke me, I won't let you go. Your child, your husband? I'll send your entire family to hell, step by step. Then, Huamin pinched Huamin's chin. Huamian stared at Wuxia with wide eyes. She realized that not only did Wuxia's appearance change, but his heart also changed greatly. It could be said that he was blinded by hatred and had lost his mind. Wuxia, the children are innocent. If you want to kill them, just kill me. Don't drag them into this. I beg you. Huamin, who had always been stubborn, was still willing to beg Wuxia for the children. Don't fucking play this game with me. Do you think you're worthy of begging me? When you teamed up with that bastard Wuxia to attack us, why didn't you think about how innocent my mother, sister, and I were? Do you know what kind of life I've been living abroad for the past few years? Do you know how many times I almost died? Now, you have the audacity to talk to me about being innocent? What a fucking joke. Let me tell you, you're already here. You don't have a choice. Just wait for your death. After hearing this, Huamin's heart sank. At the same time, inside the Hua mansion, boss, Miss Hua and the twins were taken away by Wuxia's men. Wuxia hadn't been in a good mood for the past few days. He basically stayed at home to recuperate. When he heard this news, he immediately sat up from his bed. When did this happen? Chapter 1984. It's been a few hours. A few hours, and you're only telling me now? Wuxia was about to explode from anger. I was thinking, boss, you're not feeling well, so I didn't want to disturb you. I'll deal with you later. Wuxia got out of bed angrily and hurriedly put on his clothes. Wuxia knew about Huamin's return a long time ago, but he didn't tell Huamin. He did remind her out of kindness, but Huamin didn't take it seriously. She even thought that Wuxia was trying to scare her. This time, Wuxia came back prepared and had been waiting for a long time. Huamian always felt like she was being followed, but at that time, Huamian didn't know that Wuxia was back and didn't realize that danger was approaching. Boss, what should we do now? I asked you guys to follow Wuxia. Where's he? Where is he hiding now? Wuxia rubbed his temples and asked with a sour expression. He used to live in the abandoned factory near Huairou building, the subordinate answered carefully. What about now? Wuxia noticed that the subordinate was talking about before. Well, I'm not sure. Our people lost track of him and his people ditched us. I think they moved to another place. What did you say? Wuxia was really angry now. Boss, it's not our fault. Wuxia's people are too cunning. They seem to have noticed that we were following them, so they played a game of cat and mouse with us. Now that they've ditched us, they must have found another place to hide. So, we can't find Wuxia now, right? Wuxia asked seriously. Boss. As soon as the subordinate finished speaking, Wuxia stood up and slapped him so hard that he saw stars. You guys can't even deal with an idiot like Wuxia, and you still have the nerve to say that you're my people. You're all useless. Wuxia rarely lost his cool like this. Boss. Wuxia is different this time. He's very cautious. Really? The subordinate seemed to be explaining. However, Wuxia wasn't in the mood to listen. What's the situation? Do Qin-Chu and Suyu know? They know. They're at the Municipal Public Security Bureau and they're looking for Wuxia. But Miss Wuxia, is she in danger? Upon hearing that Huamian was in Wuxia's hands, Wuxia's heart sank. Huasi will come looking for me. Huasiqian held onto his phone. He was almost certain that Huasi wouldn't let him go. After capturing Huamin, Huasi would come looking for him as well. Inside the abandoned factory, Huamin's hands and feet were tied up and he looked extremely haggard. Huasi asked someone to open the door in a dark corner and walked in. Then, he took out his phone and took a short video of Huamin. Are you going to ask my husband for a ransom? Huamin was exhausted. Ransom? No, there's no rush. We have more important things to do. Then Huasi sent the video to Huasiqian. Ding Ling. When Huasiqian received the video on his phone and saw Huamin in such a pitiful state, his heart ached. 1 minute later, Huasi called. The number was garbled so it couldn't be tracked. Huasiqian, did you see the video? How do you want to use it? Do you feel bad for her? Your little sister. Huasi's tone was vicious and mocking. Don't touch her. What do you want? We can talk about it. Huasiqian was very worried about Huamin. You seem nervous. But do you love her a lot? Huasi laughed. Chapter 1985. Huasi, there's no point in talking about this right now. Just tell me what you want. I want you to come here alone, or I'll kill Huamin right now. You don't want the ransom? Huasiqian was a little surprised. You might not know, but I don't need money now. I've made a name for myself in the outside world. Compared to money, I want revenge more. I'll wait for you for an hour. If you don't come, Huamin will become a corpse. Don't touch her. I'll go. Huasiqian didn't even think about it and immediately agreed to Huasi's request. It seems like I was right. You really do love her. Huasi laughed maniacally. How do I find you? Take your phone and go out alone. I'll send someone to find you. Remember, don't play any tricks with me. If I find out that someone is following you, I'll kill Huamin immediately. Huasi found Huasiqian's weakness. Every time Huamin was mentioned, Huasi would become extremely nervous. Don't worry, I won't play any tricks. But if I find out that anything happened to Mian, you're dead meat. Huasiqian was also full of threats. After hanging up, Huasiqian put on his clothes and went out. Boss, where are you going? You don't have to follow me. That's all. Boss. His subordinates were still worried. Get out of my way. Are you not going to listen to me? Are you rebelling? Huasiqian was furious. Boss, we're just worried that you'll be alone. Don't worry. I watched that idiot Huasi grow up. He wasn't my opponent in the past and he won't be in the future. I know what I'm doing. Just stay at home and wait for my news. Alright, is there any news from Huayanyan? I went to her place and found that she and her daughter were gone. She didn't go to work either. It seems like Huasi already made arrangements. Huasiqian worriedly walked out the door. On the other side, in the municipal bureau. What did Shenmingshi say? Can you contact Huayanyan? Qin Chu asked. Su Yu shook his head. I just called her, but she suddenly couldn't be reached. She's not at work or at home. Even her children are missing. It seems like Huayanyan came prepared. Forget it. You don't have to look for her. Even if you find her, it's useless. Huasi and Shunjiani ran away and left Huayanyan behind. That's enough to prove that she doesn't mean much to them, Qin Chu analyzed. Then are we just going to sit here and wait for death? Wait for him to call us for ransom? What if he doesn't want the money? Su Yu was a little scared. He was afraid that Huasi would give up everything for revenge, including money. No one is against money, right? Huasi will definitely call. Qin Chu was also in a bad mood. However, for the sake of the big picture, he had to stay calm. Therefore, he could only pretend to be calm. Oh right, your sister knows about this too. She said she'll be back tomorrow. Su Yu glanced at Qin Chu. How did she know? Qin Chu frowned slightly. Then, Su Yu told him about Qin Ning's call. Qin Chu didn't say anything else. Inside an abandoned factory in the suburbs, sis, hurry up. We're almost there. See, why did you bring me here? Huayanyan was confused. To show you something good. Something that can make us rich. Huasi smiled sinisterly. Chapter 1986. Hui Yanyan was still immersed in the joy of reuniting with Huasi. Before she could think about it, Huasi took her and the kids away. The kids were left in the storage room. They were playing with a big-breasted woman who had heavy makeup on and was dressed flirtatiously. Huasi said that he was going to show her something good. She was very curious. It wasn't until they walked into an abandoned factory that she began to feel uneasy. Big Brother E. A few men were eating lunch. When they saw Huasi walk in, they immediately stood up. This is my sister? She's not an outsider, Huasi introduced. Hello, big sister. The hooligans casually bowed to her. Hui Yanyan was very uncomfortable. See, who are they? They're all my subordinates, Huasi said nonchalantly. I'll show you our chips. Then, Huasi led Hui Yanyan into a small storage room. When they opened the door, they saw the twins curled up in a corner eating lunch. They are? Hui Yanyan was shocked when she saw the kids. That's right, they're Huimin's twins. I've already caught them. With them in my hands, I can get as much money as I want from Qin Chu. How could you do this? Hui Yanyan looked at Huasi as if she didn't know him. She couldn't accept this. Why can't I do this? Who was the one who destroyed our family? We were a good family and Dad loved us so much. It was all because of that bastard Huimin and that bastard Huasiqian. They plotted against us and forced Mom and I to run away. You lived a miserable life for the past few years. But now, no one will bully us anymore. After Huasi came back, he didn't immediately look for Hui Yanyan. He was afraid that his whereabouts would be exposed. It was only after the twins and Huimin were captured that he sent someone to pick up Hui Yanyan and the children and leave secretly. He planned to take Hui Yanyan and leave this place after he got the ransom and got his revenge. Where's Mom? I want to see her. Hui Yanyan thought Huasi was crazy and irrational. Therefore, he wanted to see his mother and understand the current situation. Mom is still in Vietnam. She hasn't come back yet. Vietnam? Why did you go to Vietnam? Hui Yanyan was stunned. It's a long story. I'll tell you when I'm free. Let's go eat. Then Huasi closed the door and left with Hui Yanyan. Do you know the person who came just now? The woman behind the bad guy? Little Bean whispered. I've never seen her before. I don't know who she is, but it seems like they're in the same group. Pudding analyzed. How much longer do we have to eat this bento box? It's disgusting. I want to eat fried chicken and hamburgers. Little Bean pouted and looked pitiful. Good girl. Hold on a little longer. We'll be out soon. Little Bean was a picky eater because of her gluttony. She couldn't stand eating bento boxes all the time. In the end, Pudding stood up and knocked on the door out of concern for her little sister. Someone come quickly, someone come quickly. Dahai, go and see what the kid is yelling about. The men waved their hands impatiently and gestured for Dahai to come and see what was going on. Dahai opened the door to the storage unit and glanced at Pudding. He couldn't tell who was the older sister and who was the younger sister. It's me, big dummy, Pudding said in a low voice. What's wrong? After yesterday's incident, Dahai had obviously established an invisible revolutionary friendship with Pudding. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.